Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. We got plenty to talk about today as we go over the market, review today's plays. Hope you had a nice weekend. Let's go ahead and get started. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for May 17th, 2021. SPY down about 0.25% there, 0.27. Qs down 0.74. We still got about 13 minutes left. Coming on a little bit earlier today because I thought today was a bit of a slower day today. Not a lot of good gaps and kind of less stuff to do, although there was some to do, so we'll definitely go over those. Let's start with the market here. Okay, we talked about the hourly downtrend last week. That was the focus. If we took out the downtrend here, if we broke the downtrend, once we took the top of that base there, the SPY was over this right here. Once we took that out, we weren't bearish anymore on the Qs and the SPY. Okay, so we weren't bearish anymore. If you traded with me this morning, we were neutral at the open. I think that was the right place to be. We had a pretty inside day here on the SPY, and then Qs mostly inside. Did break Friday's low just by a little bit there. Okay, so we had a neutral bias coming into today, and then today we're finishing out as a neutral bar. So that tells you going into tomorrow, not too much is going to change. However, as I also outlined this morning when we were preparing for the open, there was two scenarios for us to be bullish on the Qs and SPY. Okay, one was maybe the gap down gets bought and we just rally up. Okay, rally up, and then the next buy setup, the next retracement should be a buyable opportunity. Okay, that's where we would turn bullish. This 20 MA, which was flat, right, starting the day here, would definitely be rising by that point. By the time you got to move up and then got to pull back, right, on the hourly. And then the other scenario was that we basically just stay sideways and then the 20 MA curls up to catch price. Now, I was thinking more sideways, like in this area. Okay, so we're staying kind of more towards a little bit lower than where I expected, but kind of like a pullback. And the 20 MA you can see is starting to curl up now because we spent the day above the 20 MA here. The only scenario outlined for a potential bearish bias would be if today's gap down just got sold and we came back to the lows and we stayed down there, right? Then the more that we stayed towards the lows here around this 317 area, then we could start to look to be bearish. But it didn't seem like that was going to be the scenario. It was just a small gap down this morning. Okay. So I'm anticipating us being more bullish, okay, neutral to bullish. The only other thing I'm seeing here that could potentially make things kind of sloppy or delay the bullishness is if we just stay a little bit too range bound here. And this is the range. We don't know if it is yet. Right now we just have kind of a double top, double bottom kind of thing going on the Qs there. So we'll be on the lookout for that. So going into tomorrow, okay, neutral. All right, if we spend more time up here at Friday's high, then on Wednesday we'll be bullish. If we get the rally and then we break above, next pullback will be playable. Okay, so we're still neutral. The picture to when to turn bullish is a little bit more clear. Okay, so that's what we'll be anticipating going into tomorrow. Okay, all right, SPY, yeah, very similar here. On the SPY, you can see the 20 MA starting to curl up underneath. All right, so neutral to start the day and then anticipating more bullishness ahead. Okay. All right, so on to today's plays. The first play here from me was the SEEL. Okay, we had a gap down here. Was looking for us to pull back into that pivot there. Okay, so we start off short on this. It stayed weak for most of the morning here, and then you can see it stopped making new lows. Okay, so we're in it before the new lows, made one, and then there kind of set the bottom and then reverse. So this seal couldn't get it to a target, didn't get to what we were looking for, ended up not working. But I think this can be watched for tomorrow. either tomorrow or the next day. Like if we get an inside bar tomorrow for this, underneath the equal lows there, or if it sets up tomorrow, right, room to what I'm looking at is like around 360, 365. Okay, just because I think it was a decent gap today, it didn't really follow through all that much. It's not a doji bar or a narrow body bar that we would typically want for something to be a carryover into tomorrow, but I think it's still an okay one to watch. And if today's gaps list is any indication of tomorrow's gaps list, then more watches the better. Okay. And then the USAS, just really, really like this gap. This is the kind of gap that we've been seeing really good follow through on lately. See this MAXR, USAS, okay, clearing the support, gapping down, FSLY, a little bit similar here as well on this day, right? Just continuing the weakness there after pausing, okay? So the USAS, James gave you the numbers on this. Really, really nice here on the USAS pullback and then the base and then the follow through there. It looks like it's trying to bottom here. We don't have a lot of time though, only 7 minutes left. So it's kind of interesting as a long, although as a climactic, it's a little bit lacking. But do like the volume there at the bottom, inside bar. Okay, looks a little interesting higher there. Okay, on the USAS, but there's not really any time left. But as a short, really, really, this was kind of the play. Okay. I think this one we found shortly after they opened. This I think wasn't on the list initially, but that was pretty decent there on the USAS. Okay, so I think we still have a healthy number of earnings reports this week, so should still get some decent amount of gaps, as is typically the case on Monday, and then less so on Friday. Less gaps on Monday. So today, I think less to look at the open. So if you're trading with me, really the focus was just, good setup. I think there's a lot of stuff kind of like moving this morning, just not a lot of good gaps. So, I think we were pretty patient this morning and did a good job. And you saw that USAS didn't really come up, was a late gap or gap that we found later. And then the setup really didn't follow through here until, almost lunch. Okay. So, sometimes Mondays are like that. Yeah. But hope you did well today, or at least stayed out of trouble. All right, we'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.